Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc, Prison Talk, and I'm here with Beyond Lockdown, answering questions that you guys have been asking us, because I don't want to speak on things I don't know of, so I want to get somebody else's opinion. And I have my man here answering some questions for you guys. A lot of people want to know about the drugs and how it affects the prison economy. How involved are drugs in the prison economy in the Midwest?
Oh, they're big. I mean, it's so bad at times where there's guys that, I mean, it's not even like a $300 debt. You'll be in like debt for like $3,000 and stuff. It's as bad as on the street, and all for like a little piece of heroin or something stupid. I mean, it's just crazy.
Like a match head.
Yeah, and I mean it runs, I would say, the big part of it, and they always say it's like, oh, how are they getting it in here, and it's usually the COs or staff some way. So it's
a combination. Yeah. Inmates ain't keistering all the drugs.
Yeah, especially the large amounts that are in there, and it's sometimes I think it kind of does have if there is I wouldn't say a lot of drugs, but there is a fair amount of drugs on a compound. It almost seems like the prison is less violent at that time. It's when the drugs run out.
That everybody's tripping because ain't no money circulating. Because now I want my money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Ain't no money circulating.
Once that you can usually tell when the pipeline was cut off or something happened.
Somebody got
because the people are starting to disappear off the yard, and people are getting stabbed, and there's fights because now there's no drugs, and now everybody wants their money or they want their drugs, one or the other.
And as far as like the people on drugs, man, I mean, what are they? They're not really. Are they even really getting high? I never got involved in that scene, but I seen guys because I walked up to dudes before, and it's like a dude to be in a cell for like 2 days. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? They be nodding on that H, man.
Yeah, and I never, because I didn't never even really do drugs before I went to prison. Like, prison is when I really, I never really did drugs in prison. I smoked some weed in there, and that's about it. But I understand when you just want to just nod off and forget that you're even in prison, but I would watch some of these guys would make syringes out of big pins. Like, they'd make the pusher and the melt stuff, and it's like, are you that...
Put it in their arm.
Yeah, and they'd pull the shit out and blood just everywhere because it's not good. Or they'd get people that worked up in medical...
Keister.
And get the syringes that go into the IVs. And those are big, I don't know how many cc syringes those are, but they're our gauges. I think they're like 10 gauge cc.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, it's like a fucking plunger.
It's like, what are you doing?
And the cool thing about it is everybody's sharing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, let me get that when you're through. And they're not, it's like dudes is getting Hep C is big.
Yeah, Hep C.
So dudes is sharing a lot of those needles and shit. It's like, fuck, man.
They don't care. They
don't care.
I just want to get high. And they're worse than dope fiends you see on the street.
And the cool thing about it is, like, the person selling it, as long as you made a little payment, they'll keep giving you more. So, because I know guys dude's like, oh, man, I'm going to take care of him. Like, dude, how much you owe the dude? Like, big bread. You're like, God damn, this is street money, man, you owe this dude, man.
Yeah, and it's usually the people like that it's like street to street. Like, they have somebody on the street sending this dude money, but that's the same, like I was saying, now if that dude's pipeline ever gets out and this dude owes them like $2,000 or something.
Oh, they're collecting.
Yeah, they're coming after him
gotta
hard.
pay up.
And because now he has nothing to keep him string along, because some of those guys that owe that much, even if they're sending it to the street, they still will always hook this guy up with their commissary, so that he has a steady flow of commissary always coming in. But yeah, when those pipelines are cut off, it's all bad for him.
What's crazy too is people, just because you bought the drugs from this dude, somebody else, I've seen people buy people's debt. So now you owe me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're like, oh, this motherfucker, he ain't playing. He'll buy it for whatever pennies on a dollar, whatever, cents on a dollar. Now you got to pay this guy. So I tell people, like, man, the drug game, it's like, and it goes hand in hand with the gambling, because the drugs, the gambling, the money.
It's usually the same, because like with the poker, you have the house just like a casino, but that house, that guy that is running that house, that is usually the person that's selling drugs or the gang.
Because he has the money.
Yeah, he has all the money, and it's the same like with running tickets. I know you like the sports tickets. Yeah. It's the same people. It's
they got a crew.
Yeah,
they got a crew.
And it's a lot of money with gambling and drugs. I mean, I would be. Prisons all over this country are probably making millions and millions selling drugs inside prison. It's just crazy.
And what about was cell phones a big thing when you were in there?
Not the first time, like they were there, but they weren't as rampant. Now when I went back on that violation, you seen them everywhere. So in the period from like 2009 to when I went back in 2013, something changed, because there was cell phones. I was like, I didn't even have to use a phone. I was like, wow. Everybody had one. I was like, how? And some of them weren't. I know people weren't keystering because they weren't little.
There were no little phones.
So yeah, it was definitely.
And now I know, like, and people always say, well, hey man, you guys are talking about the cell phone. Hey man, you guys already know they're out there. But I know too. Somebody had spoke on something before, and they told me, like, a guard. I mean, I talked to another CO, and he said they busted a CO at the prison. They just basically, told him he can retire. But he was making $250,000 selling cell phones.
Yeah, because
a year.
I think when I was, the most I seen one go for, it was, I don't remember what it was, just like a S6 or something. It was a Samsung, and it was like $1,800 that the person was paying for it. I don't know how much. Like, I don't know what they split it with the CO that brought it in, but that's man.
So he's bringing in 4 or 5 phones. He's balling. He's making like $10,000 a week.
Yeah, and I know they were, like, a CO couldn't bring more than one phone. Like, if they didn't have, so I don't know. They obviously have ways to get in. I don't even know how they search them. Obviously, I never went in there the way they go, but I don't think they can search them too great, because there wouldn't. Because man,
it couldn't be that. It couldn't. Not everybody's getting a visit to get a phone.
No, and I mean, getting a visit at most prisons, they are, I mean, looking everywhere on you. So, I mean, and if you're going to keister a cell phone, you're going to have more problems than just worrying about that cell phone. If you can stick a cell phone up there, you're going to have some other dudes coming after you.
Oh, shit. Just a question off the cuff, man. While you were in there, did you ever get any visits in prison? Did you have the opportunity to?
Yeah, my mom, she would come. That was my grandparents and my dad when he was alive. They would come every now and then, but that's the bad thing. When I was in Greenville, it's only like 40 miles away from St. Louis. So when I was there, it was lovely. But when I go down to Texas, or when I went to Colorado, it's like, I mean, it was way too far. And yeah, I think it seems like the feds would purposely do that. If you're causing problems, they send you 1,000 miles away from home. Yeah,
crazy shit, man. There you guys have it. Big Herc, fresh out, beyond lockdown.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.